Hi guys, it's Chris at Cork and Crown. I'm back in my cider shed with some more cider to try. Or is it cider? Or is it perry? Or is it cider? Or is it pear cider? Who knows? Many questions. I just read an article in Cider Review, an online article by Chris Russell Smith, who I believe is also the Whinging Pom. I think it is Chris Russell Smith. I think that's you, judging by the photograph. And it was talking about texture. I know it's fundamental. It talked about all sorts of things, but the general gist of it was how texture is fundamentally important to food and drink. I wholeheartedly agree. I think texture is very important, and I think I talk about texture a lot when I'm drinking things because it's massively fundamental to my experience of something. I'm putting something in my mouth. What it tastes like is also tempered by what it feels like. You know, something feels horrible in your mouth. Some things feel great in your mouth. You know, so it's important. It's important. So one of the things he tried, I got a small mention in the article, at least the website did, because I sell this from Bridge Farm, this perry. And Chris tried two perries, one from Napton Cidery, which I believe I've actually reviewed previously on the YouTube channel. And there's a review of this, but actually it wasn't this vintage, it was a previous vintage. It might have been 2 vintages ago, in fact, so I thought I should try it again, and I'm going to. And one of the things he mentioned, actually, was he didn't like people calling it pear cider, because people associate that with crappy drinks, you know, Copperberg, etc., whatever. But I have some sympathy for people calling it pear cider. I think Phil Turner at Turner's in Kent, he's in Kent. He's eating like dessert pears to make his cider, so he doesn't call it perry, because he wants to respect the fact that perry pears are distinct from what he's using. So he calls it pear cider to make that distinction. And I think that's fair enough. On this bottle, it says sparkling pear cider right there. But it also says perry. But the thing about this is, Nigel puts eating pears in, some perry pears, and some apple juice as well, some cider, to bring acidity. So this isn't a pure perry. So he's sort of covering both his covering all his options by calling it both these things. And I was actually at Julian Templey's picking up some, I don't know, brandy or whatever, after I'd just been to Nigel's, and in the back of the car was a box of this stuff. And Julian Templey, on seeing it, reached in, grabbed a bottle out and went, "That is not perry, you should not call it perry." So what's a person to do? Rock, hard place, certain conscientious cider makers are stuck somewhere in between, trying to do the right thing, but what is the right thing? I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much, to be perfectly honest with you. But if it says perry on something, I expect it to be made with perry pears. That is my one sort of line in the sand, if you like. Absolutely. Anyway, what does it say on this bottle? It says, other than the things we've discussed, it says it's 5.5%. It says, at Bridge Farm, we have long admired the elegance of traditional perry and decided that we should rise to the challenge. We sought the finest locally grown pears, fight with the swarms of late summer wasps, and bottle this refreshing, delicate cider. And bottle this refreshing, delicate cider. Full stop. In this bottle there are a wide variety of pears and a hint of Bramley apple to give it a crisp edge. Is it pear cider or is it perry? We don't know, Nigel. Good question. We believe it's what's in the bottle, not on the bottle, that counts. You decide. And I think actually Nigel's addressed that quite nicely there, don't you? Anyway, let's open this. So this is quite different from the last vintage. The last vintage I felt had a distinct smokiness about it. This is quite different. Even the colour, it's got like a pinkish hue to it, which is quite delightful. Whoop. Cider salon glass. It was cider salon yesterday. I wasn't there because I was flipping working. I was selling cider and perry. That's what I was doing. Not pontificating about it and sipping it. I was selling it. Right, so hang on. Thingamajig, colour. There's that. Yep. Let's pour it on the floor there for a look. Do you see that? Very delicate pinkish hue to that, isn't it? It's rather nice. I like that. It's a lovely colour, and it is very different to the last vintage in terms of the colour. I must say, I didn't have that pinkish hue last time out. Let's smell it. Okay. I mean, there's pear in there. Hints of pear drop as well. Sometimes it feels like there's almost like creamy texture to it as well. Creamy texture, creamy aromatic to it. It's delicate, but rich, I want to say. Yeah, obvious pear, hint of pear drops, so some of that sort of citric acidity. Yeah, smells good actually, and there's a softness to it, a roundness to it. Very nice nose. Very nice nose. It smells like what it is, to be perfectly honest, which is a Perry pear cider. Right, let's try it. Okay, it is delicate, soft in the mouth, not overly carbonated. This is on the warm side actually, it could be a hint colder, but rather it's too warm, too cold. I almost feels like a very slight hint of tannin on it. I mean, just a mere suggestion. That Bramley, that malic acid, I can just detect a hint of it. Just a hint, not very much, it's just there. That ripe pear character is right there in the middle. Hint of like pear skin as well. Yeah, it's delicate, it's quaffable, but it's got some subtleties to it. So it's got an interesting factor to it, which is a very, very hard line to walk, getting both of those things correct. I think that's what Chris said. But the one he was trying was, I don't know if it's the same vintage even, but he was trying the still. This is sparkling, which doesn't make a difference. You know, CO2 will make a difference to flavour and texture. Very lightly CO2 though, carbonated. Much reminds me a lot of actually someone I already mentioned, Phil Turner. He very, very delicately CO2's forced carbonates his, and I appreciate it a lot. That's nice. Yeah, that's nice. You get a hint of very ripe pear in the middle, but then that acidity around the outside offsets it. CO2 is really good. Texturally, it's nice. It's got a richness to it. Yeah, me like. And I have to say, I rate Nigel Stewart as a cider maker. He's quirky, but some of the best people are quirky, aren't they? Yes, Chris, they are. Glad you agree. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me in my shed. I hope you join me again, but until that time, cheers.